Oh, hi, Renisha. How
Hi.
are you, Mrs. Finch?
Good.
Good
How
to
you
see
doing?
you. Thank you for coming to see you to update your PUNS. I can see, and by the way, Mrs. Finch, thank you for sending the release of information because I got all the records here from school. I
Okay.
got your last IEP from school, the psychological evaluation from school, and an IEP before the age of 18. So that means that you're eligible for services. And I understand that you'll be graduating from school in November. Are
Yes.
you excited?
Oh, yay.
Yes. So part of what we're gonna do here, because I noticed here that you have been in the PUNS database since 2012. That's 4 years. You're still waiting for services. You're graduating in November, which is like 2 months away, maybe less.
A little bit
So we're gonna
less.
be talking about updating your PUNS, putting them in the right category, which will be critical. You're needing something within a year, and talking about services too. Okay.
Yes.
Some of the information in the puns was already pre-filled because we have done the puns before. So Renisha, I got you here, and that's grandma's contact information, your address. It's grandma's date of birth right here, right? 8/25, 19. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then Renisha got your date of birth right here as of November 12th, 1994, which means you graduate from high school the day before your 22nd birthday, which would be November 11th of this year.
Oh, yay.
This page right here, so that people understand, it's clinical information, demographic information, where you live, et cetera, et cetera. And then what I like to do here is talk about the supports that you have right now, which is existing supports. And again, we're updating the PON, so I want to make sure that whatever you told me the last time is still the same. So I checked on the existing supports. I checked school. Now, what's the name of your school?
North side.
Oh, I know Northside Learning Center. Okay, I'm gonna write it down right here. And how you like school?
Perfect.
You're perfect, and you like school. Excellent. And then, how do you get to and from school? You still take the school bus?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Do you do anything else? Any social activities?
I go swimming,
Oh,
do jobs, and I think that's
okay. If
about it.
if for some reason you don't remember, feel free to
A
ask
little
grandma and
bit.
she'll fill you in. Okay.
A little bit.
A little bit. So you do some social recreational activities at the school.
And do basketball.
Oh, basketball
Most of that is after school.
at the school, right? So it's probably through the Chicago Park District, but taking place at the school, like most people in transition.
Yes.
Okay. And then let me guess, are you doing any work activities, any work experience?
Only work experience she's doing is with the school.
Okay. What do you do at school when you work?
Boxing.
Okay.
Just tell them, they take her out to Jewels, they take her to the the plant shops.
Any place that you go outside of the school to work?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Let me see. Now, this area right here is supports needed. Those are some of the things that you and grandma feel that you need, whether the state provides funding for you or not. Okay? And that the first thing that comes to mind is what's going to happen to you after you graduate in November. How do we replace as a team? Because we're going to be working together 6-7 hours of structured programming. And typically, you talk about personal supports. I checked that, we checked that the last time. Respite supports. And I believe you were getting physical therapy at school, right?
Yes.
So maybe that's something to consider to continue after you graduate too. And then what we're going to talk about right now is the existing supports, meaning what kinds of services you receive right now. And I think you go to school, right?
Yes.
You still go to school because you graduate in November. And the name of the school is?
North side learning.
Okay, I got it right here. And then aside from school, are there any things that you do, social things, sports, recreation, anything that you can remember?
Basketball, soccer,
Oh, soccer.
and tennis, and
Wow.
baseball.
Baseball too?
Mm-hmm.
No swimming?
Yeah.
What about track?
Yeah.
I'm a
So
big basketball guy.
that's so.
There we go. But I bet you're better. There we go.
And swimming.
Swimming? Wow. So you're pretty active. See, those are the things, and when we talk about PUNS, we want to make sure that they are documented because those are the things that you're going to miss when you leave school. And we want to make sure that at least you have that piece in your life. School is not going to be there anymore, but we have to replace those hours of structure, programming. Okay, transportation, you still go to and from the school in the school bus, right? What about work? You go someplace for work?
Jewel.
Jewel. Okay, what do you do at Jewel?
Stack
Oh,
boxes.
so Jewel. How do you like it?
Better.
Better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Have you gone anywhere else during the transition age, meaning from the time you were 18 years old till now you're going to become almost 22? Did you go anywhere else besides Jewel?
No.
Okay, so Jewel, what is that your favorite place to go?
Favorite.
Okay. All right. So those are things to remember, Renisha and Grandma, because at some point, when you leave school, the school will make a referral to the local Department of Rehabilitation Services office for vocational services. So if that was your favorite place, although I'm sure the school had other places called transition sites where you went to and they tested your skills to make sure that you were successful. Those are things to remember because people will be evaluating you for employment at some point. Now, the next category that we're going to document is supports needed. You were getting physical therapy at school. I think that would maybe something to continue. I checked to personal supports here, Renisha and Grandma, respite supports, because those are the things that people need. Somebody to come to the home and continue working on the life skills that Renisha learned in school, so that she doesn't forget, and you don't want to forget what you learned, because that was the whole point of going to school, is learning all those beautiful skills and then continue to practice them as you get older, so you don't forget. And then here, under other individual supports, probably continue with the social recreational supports until we help you apply for some type of funding because she's graduating now. How are we doing so far?
Good.
Okay. So we documented what you have, existing supports. We also documented supports that you need, whether there is funding available to pay for that or not. What we need to do that is double check the category that we picked. When you first started in the PUNS 4 years ago, we were planning for the future. That was you at 18 or 17 years old. Now you're 21. So you automatically move to the critical need category, meaning you need something within a year because you're losing special education school. So see the importance of having Grandma, listening to Grandma saying we need to update the PUNS every year, because there are people out there that don't do that. So at some point when I first met you, you were 18, 17 years old, you were planning for the future. Now you're 21, 22. Automatically we move you to the critical need category, which goes right here. See? It says that you will need something within the next year in order to remain in your current living situation, because Grandma has to work too. And you got somebody over the age of 60 and somebody who has health issues, so we need help in the home.
Okay.
Okay? And Grandma, we documented the health issues and the urgency of your request. So what we're going to be doing is applying for services. But in the meantime, what we want you to do is think this way. Right now, you get up in the morning, you go to school what time?
6:40. 6:40
a.m.
a.m. and I come home around 3:20.
So that ends at November 11th. So even though you're in the PUNS, what happens if your name doesn't get picked? You're still waiting. So then my job as a service coordinator is how do we help you and Grandma apply for services, because you're still waiting. That's the lottery way. If your name gets picked between now and November 11th, you're going to get services. You get funding, and then you can buy services with that. It could be some type of day program, it could be a recreational program, whatever you want to do. But then what happens if you don't get that? Then you stay at home. And there are a lot of people that do stay home because they don't know how to access the system, the adult services system. You're an adult. So I put a list together here of resources for you and Grandma to explore, and I took some of this from your high school webpage. So it has a listing of social recreational program, but it also has a listing of day programs around here. So Renisha, since you're graduating in November, we want to make sure that we're able to work together and try to replace all the structure and the programming that you were getting for like 6, 7 hours a day. So what most people do in your situation is, okay, if I don't have school anymore, maybe I'll go sign up for the park district, because the park district will offer you a lot of activities. You could also volunteer at the park district. You could also volunteer at the local library if you like the library. Or you could also, since you like Jewel, you can also, we can refer you to the local Department of Rehabilitation Services office, so they can assign a job coach to work with you part-time. So you can do a lot of things, but we want to make sure you don't stay home without anything to do. So I took the liberty to research some of the resources that were posted on the high school's website, because we work with that high school quite a bit. And there's a listing of work training centers. I don't know if you've been able to visit some of those, but there's a listing right here for you and Grandma. And there's also here another list of resources, Park District. So if you were doing all the swimming, all the track and field, the tennis, basketball, soccer, you did that through the local Chicago Park District at your high school. So what you have to think about is, how do I use maybe my entitlements, my SSI money to pay for this, while I help you apply for services that can fund it. But those are the things that you can do. I don't know, I've been to your home, but I don't know which one is the closest park district to you, but here's the listing from the Chicago Park District website. Is a listing of all the special recreation programs, the locations, and the contact person. So you can, based on your area, you can figure out which one will be the closest one to you.
Okay.
So that's what most of our families do, Renisha, when they are leaving school and they're waiting for funding, whether it is via the PUNS database or whether it is via crisis funding, whichever comes first. Okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we marked you still in the critical. I'm going to sign here my name so we can officially update the PUNS. And then Grandma is your legal guardian, but Grandma, is that okay if Renisha signs the form?
Oh, that's fine.
So I will need your autograph right here. Right there.
Okay.
You did your whole name? Yeah.
And then if you can have Grandma sign right here.
Oh, thank you.
Then I'm going to initial my initials here. That's saying that, we talked about the PUNS. The fact that you are in the PUNS database, just like I tell all my families, it doesn't guarantee you funding. That's a way of documenting your needs, but it doesn't guarantee the funding. That's something that we're going to be working together to try to access, okay? Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Okay. What about you, Grandma?
No, I don't have any questions at this time.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming. This was a piece of cake, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you for coming. And let me know when graduation is, because I'm sure I'll probably be at the high school sometime in November anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
All right.